That's our last speaker, Supervisor Buster.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first time that this, if this passed, it wouldn't be the first time that this board's been stampeded into an unnecessary ordinance without any specific cause for it. I mean, we had an ordinance passed here over a year ago now to circumscribe First Amendment protest rights when the sheriff, everybody involved, testified that they had the ample tools to deal with that issue already. And as has been pointed out, we haven't had, even during the biggest building boom and the second fastest growing county in the United States, we've never had a project labor agreement proposed in any of our departments, nor do we have any in the offing right now, I understand it. And I'm to be corrected if I'm wrong. We checked around with some of the departments. So why this, and I'm sure we will, if one is proposed, we will give it due deliberation. We will provide notice. We won't rush things through. I mean, this is the very kind of thing that we keep an eye on, make sure everybody has a chance to be heard. And particularly now, with you standing out there, some of you out of work, and another 15% plus and more in both counties out of work, it's something that we would want to look at extremely careful so we can balance all the, all the needs here, particularly keeping people on jobs is first in my book, and then trying to find jobs for people that are out of work would be next. So why this this is kind of a distracting sideshow, really, and why this diversion onto dealing with unions that are, outside the county, the private sector, not our direct responsibility. Well, I can only see this as a way to distract attention off of the board's not dealing with its own unions here, its own public unions, and of delaying the kind of negotiation, successful negotiation that would prevent us from impending layoffs of a size that we haven't seen since I've been on the board. That would cause a severe reduction in our services and also waste our taxpayers' money. Just 2 weeks ago, this board decided to delay any kind of negotiation dealing with present employees paying a share of the increased costs of the pensions. Now, all of you in the private sector union, I'm sure you would jump at this chance if you could have such pensions to pay any increases in the costs that are needed. It'd certainly be a wise fiscal decision for you to do so. But here in this county, we can't even get agreement. We just stall out. We delay until September at least in negotiating with our unions just a partial sharing of the not the base cost, but the increased cost of these pension costs. As you know, they're all going up. The county's going to be hit with another third cost. So because of that, because we are delaying, and right during the period when we're negotiating 1 year and possible multiple year contracts with our own unions, we're going to have more layoffs rather than less. We're going to have more service cuts rather than less. And we'll be using, again, I think, causing taxpayers to spend more money for benefits here that are completely unequal to anything offered in your unions in the private sector, completely outdated, and need to be completely reformed. And the current employees cannot be indemnified, cannot be insulated from that. We're all part of it now. We're all saying, I mean, this specific proposal and the attention given to it just on short notice here shows that everybody's eye is on the jobs and money. And so this board, I think, is being even more responsible to try to use this issue to divert attention from where our key responsibility lies here. And it's with our own unions and keeping our own employees employed and keeping our own services up. And we should not, again, be led down a path to abruptly, precipitously, has been pointed out, without any basis, without any information, to make a prejudgment on an issue that, if it does arise, I'm sure we will all give the most serious consideration to.
Supervisor Tavaglione.
Well,
I was going to agree wholeheartedly with my colleague, and I will with my colleague Supervisor Buster, I will on the first half of his comments, in that, as I mentioned with one of the speakers, in the 15 years I've been doing this now, almost 16, here with the county, I have, in fact, when this issue came on the agenda, I wondered to myself, and I'm not real smart, what is a project labor agreement? I've never heard of one, because we've never had one, to my knowledge, here in the county of Riverside. And I can tell you that just in my district alone, where we've had probably the most activity in terms of construction projects, it's never been used. We've never had one used. And correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, but I don't think we ever have. And outside of my district, countywide, we have built so many projects over this last decade, hundreds of millions of dollars of projects, that I was somewhat surprised when I saw this. And I have a tremendous amount of respect for all my colleagues. As I mentioned, my colleague Supervisor Buster's comments, the first half, and Supervisor Stone's.
Told you I'd get your mind off the election, didn't I?
Yeah, we were whispering back and forth there. Stopped, But one thing I prided myself on in the time that I've been getting off the project labor agreement, because I don't support this item. I just want to make it very clear. I don't support this item that's in front of us, with all due respect to Supervisor Stone. But one thing I have prided myself on is that it doesn't matter whether you're union or non-union. The Associated General Contractors, I've worked with them over the years. I've worked with the unions over the years. I've had support from both. And I continue to have support from the unions. And my belief is, during these very, very difficult times, when everyone's challenged, is that you get through these challenges by working together, whether it be through a project labor agreement or whether it be through negotiations. And the second half of what Supervisor Buster mentioned, which I don't agree with, is the item, unfortunately he was gone, but we put before the board an item to bring, because we know there's change. There's change in the system. It's inevitable. Change in the pension system. We recognize that. And the only way I believe we're going to get through this is by bringing all the parties together with a facilitator, so that we get on the same page, not do it piecemeal. That's what he's talking about. It's an item, Pension Reform Committee. And it's only going to complement what the Park Committee has done. Unrelated to this issue, but I wanted to make it clear. So, with all due respect, Supervisor Stone, I don't support this item. I think it's worked, and we can do it and continue to bring the parties together by taking it at a project at a time.
Okay, I'd like to say I agree with the comments that Supervisor Tavaglione just made. It's just about 100%. We don't have any discrimination here right now. Any contract we have, it doesn't matter if you're a union or non-union contractor, you bid on it, low guy gets it. That's the way we are. We don't have a PLA. We didn't even know such thing existed until this was on there. And we don't have discrimination. It's open right now. It's just not a problem here for first right now. I don't think we need to deal with this right now. And I'm going to support Supervisor Buster and Supervisor Tavaglione on this item. Supervisor Benoit.
I'd just like to associate my comments with yours and the Supervisor Buster. Supervisor Tavaglione, when I saw this item on the agenda, I checked to find out when was the last time we had to deal with this or had a PLA in Riverside County, and found we didn't have any. So for that reason, I support with your comments.
Okay. So.
Well, Mr. Chair, I know how to count, and let me just say that the purpose of this agenda item is that I strongly believe in the free enterprise system. I believe in open and fair competition. I don't believe that anybody, because of any affiliation that they have with the union, should be given exclusive rights to any project at all. I think it should be open and fair competition for unions to make bids, to private entities to make bids, and in the best interest of the taxpayers, which I am a steward of, the lowest bidder should get the contract to save the taxpayers money. That was the whole purpose of this agenda item, and it's been passed in the counties of San Diego and Orange County, where my colleagues took a brave move and made sure they were protecting the taxpayers. And that's why this was agendized, but I respect my colleagues, as I always do. I'm not afraid to be on the low end of a vote, But as I always have for 17 years, I stand behind my principles. And again, I believe in free enterprise, open and fair competition. And that's why this was on the agenda. So I will follow your motion and vote appropriately.
Okay, is there someone would like to make a motion?
I'll move to take no action on this item.
It's been moved by Supervisor Buster, seconded by Supervisor Tavaglione. Take no action on this item. Please vote. Okay, that motion's approved, 4-1.